Are people getting stupider and stupider? Seriously. Now think about it. Not long ago, maybe 100 years ago or so, it was very uncommon for a child to be born with autism. And now it's something like 1 in 100. I mean, it's an epidemic. It's crazy. And you're seeing babies born with small heads. And not just stupider, but like different things wrong with people more and more often. People being born with not just mental deficiencies, but just sickly. You never used to hear about people getting cancer, and now it's pretty common, and other different things like that. And a lot of people will just say, oh well, it's the way we eat, it's the environment. But what if it's something more than that? And what if it's something like the human... Now this isn't just me saying this is a scientific proven fact, and I will attach the link, so if you care to read, you'll see what I'm about to say is not something I'm making up. It's actually a fact that the human DNA was never meant to evolve us into a smarter species. Just the opposite, I would say. It's breaking down over generations, and what I just said is correct, that over time, now this ain't gonna happen like tomorrow, but I'm just saying over generations, there will be more and more people born with different diseases and mental deficiencies. More and more, it'll become more and more common. And it's not from the environment like you would like to think, or our diet. I mean, that all has a part to play. But however, what's even more important is our DNA is it's degenerating. So, and it's to a point where you can't just cut out a bad section. I mean, you can, now they have technology where they can cut out a bad section of your DNA and replace it with one that's not diseased, and a lot of people are getting cured from this technology. However, eventually it's going to become so riddled, our DNA will become so riddled with holes everywhere in it, that it will just not be salvageable. You can no longer, repair it or replace the bad sections anymore. So eventually we will need to replace our whole entire DNA with a synthetic DNA, and there actually are scientists working on this. Now, you don't have to, but I'm just saying, I mean, if you want your generations to continue, your line or your relatives or whatever, but of course eventually, I guess, if we all have synthetic DNA, then really nobody will be related in some way. Nobody will have children that are actually completely biological children. They'll all have artificial DNA. That is, if you do actually want to have children. And I would bet that eventually, if you want to have a child, you'll have to have artificial DNA, have it grown in a lab or something, your child, because I would say it would be considered child abuse, because if you have a chance of giving your child a severe brain deficiency or other deficiency or sickness, if you have a great chance of doing that, that would be considered like child abuse. So eventually, I would say, if humans are still around, we will all be grown in a laboratory in a test tube. And that's not me making this up. I will attach the link, and you can see that I am right. And if we don't do this, we will become extinct, because nature does not see things the way we see things. Nature is not going to keep evolving humans to be smarter as what we would consider smart, because nature does not see evolution in that way. If anything, it's going to see us as needing to go back to being monkeys again. So unless we do something about that, then we would actually, most likely we would become extinct, and a whole other species of monkey would evolve, from some part of the human DNA possibly. I don't know how exactly it works. They say that dinosaurs are not really extinct, that they just became birds. So, something like that. Anyway, just something to really think about. And yeah, take care.